for?
Marketing and real estate.
Okay, so that makes sense. That makes sense. The
It
marketing
helps,
thing.
yeah.
No,
yeah.
that makes sense now.
Yeah.
That must have been because that's what I went.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
a marketing guy. Yeah, so that's probably why I was like, this dude's got his shit together here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it must have been.
I feel like I've always had a marketing brain whenever.
That's probably what it was because I was watching. I don't know. You want to roll and we can talk?
Yeah, we're going.
We're already going?
just roll right into
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yep.
Because I don't remember how I stumbled upon you, but I was like, this dude's got his shit together. And I was so I was like, wait a minute. Oh. So he's got a band and I was listening to music. And then I was like, all right, and that's the other, there's a other aspect to it too. I'm like fanboying on you.
No,
you know what I mean? No, seriously, man. Really. And I was telling you earlier, I was like, this dude's got his shit together. He's here in Milwaukee. I'm such a proud Milwaukee guy.
Yeah.
And I was, how you do your videos and all that stuff. Of course, I like the music. And I'm like, he's got a podcast. And this dude's working every angle. Good for you, man.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, fucking good for you. You know?
You.
And that's what attracted me to reach out to you and say, hey, can we hang out?
Yeah.
Can we
Hell yeah.
get a beer?
Yeah. And now we're here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have questions or how do you usually lead
I'll ask
these?
you a question. You can ask me questions.
Because
then...
I watch a lot of the interviews and, of course, I made my notes here. The people that I wanted to talk about that I really liked. I like the great attitude that you guys have. The younger people, of course, I'm 46 years old, like we're talking about. But you guys really are pushing for, having a good community.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm just going to take over the interview.
Oh, you're good. No, you're totally fine.
Because that's something that really inspired me as well with River West. Now, I grew up on the south side of Milwaukee, but I spent so much time in River West. You know what I mean?
Sure,
before I was in the Femmes.
Yep.
And at that time, it was like mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Some bands would kind of like buddy up. We would do, the basement shows and all that stuff.
Yep.
But there was always, I don't know if it was always a healthy competition at times.
Sure.
There was always like, fuck those guys, man. Fuck okay, oh yeah, all right. Because
mid-90s.
It was like, okay, indie rock. And my band at the time, the Danglers, I mean, it was violin, stand-up bass, and drums. And we were like, first of all, who does that? And it was progressive rock. That was before Mars Volta was cool.
I don't even know if I know who that is.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not going to hold that against you. but you know what I'm saying?
Violins and a stand-up bass.
Violin, stand-up bass, and drums. And we play progressive rock and jazz.
Badass. Yeah.
So... the scene at that, I mean, some of the people in River West at the time, they were very supportive. Like Littman's, that was the place,
Mm-hmm.
It used to be called the Store Club, but before that, I think it was Gordon Park Pub, but now it's called Nessa Dorma or something.
Nessa Dorma.
Yeah, so we would play there. Of course, Quarters was...
Quarters, yeah.
Dude, that was everything. Like, dude, grinding. I don't know what it's called now on Center Street, but it used to be called One Nation. We used to play outside. It was
High Dive, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I feel embarrassed because I should know that. But it was, if you're looking at Fuel, it was to the right. Okay. And they've got the gate. It's right. It's one over from the corner. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
I honestly think that's a real estate firm now.
Fail.
I don't even think there's a
fail.
And then the Fuel is now the Daily Bird.
Yeah,
I know. And
it's but anyways, I'm going down memory lane with you. So
I kind of know the old River West.
No, but I mean, so because like I said, I was watching a lot of your videos, and it's like, you guys are and the whole scene is very supportive. Yeah. It wasn't as supportive back. I'm not saying it was negative, you know what I mean? But it was just like, everybody was, yeah and no. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, you're supportive, but then it's like, there was a lot of catty behavior between bands.
Sure.
So I spent a lot of time here, and we were grinding here. That was my band, the Danglers. And of course, the East Side. We were scrapping for anything we could. But
basement shows.
Oh
bar
man,
shows.
listen, those were the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it still are.
Dude,
Yeah.
if I could, I would love to play a basement show with the Femmes.
Dude.
Could you?
Dude, I could help you set that up. I could. I seriously could.
You have the promoter for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Kinda,
I mean, it's I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, I miss those. I really do miss playing those basement shows. The pipes are dripping, sweating, and everybody's in there, and everybody's there for the music.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're
it's just
they're
a big ball of energy.
and I watched a lot of your videos with your band, and I'm like, this dude's killing, man. He's selling out all these places here, and the Cactus Club was a big one too. And I know I'm old, right? But the Cactus Club, it was like we would do shows there, and it's like, dude, who's gonna come all the way to Bayview to see a show? Fuck. Dude,
sure. Yeah,
nobody's coming. Like, oh man! And Eric was the owner at the time, and it was like we could poster the fuck out of Bayview, right? Rushmore and fucking Hi-Fi. It would be like, oh man, it was brutal.
Tough to get people there.
Well, because Bayview wasn't Bayview at the time,
Right, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Gotcha.
Now it's what it is now.
Yeah.
And it was.
Was it mostly residential over there, or was it?
It is a lot like it is now. It's just everybody was living in River West, dude.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
And so we make the joke, and you probably heard this joke, is that Bayview is Bayview because everybody retired from River West and moved to fucking. I'm serious, dude.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah. And it was like, oh man, who's gonna fucking come to Bayview to see us? And it wasn't because it was the Cactus Club, because the Cactus Club and WMSC was it. You know what I mean? Like they were really tied in. And Tom Crawford was just fucking. He still is phenomenal. Very supportive. I'm happy that I can swear.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that was kind of like a lifeline. WMSC, and I can't believe I'm talking like
Tom
80
Crawford,
years old.
Is he on WMSC? Tom Crawford.
Yeah.
Tom
I
Crawford?
mean, Tom Crawford. As far as I know, he's the station manager.
Okay.
I mean, unless that's changed.
Gotcha.
We were talking earlier. Like, I am a little out of touch now. But that's another topic. Yeah. So that was what was going on for me. So I'm looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Right? This is the through line. And I was just so inspired because, like I was telling you earlier, I did this clinic in Woodstock, New York. Mm-hmm. And all these kids are fantastic. It's called Rock Academy. The guy that runs it, his name is Jason. And he started School of Rock.
Okay.
With that, I forgot the other guy's name. And they split off. He started Rock Academy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Woodstock is awesome in general. And then Rock Academy is just fantastic. Anyways, all these kids are like, oh, it's so great you're here and really appreciate it. And I'm like, this is kind of my job, man. Not job like making money job. It's my job to be here and be like, hey, check this out. Think about things this way.
Right.
And like, sorry. So we had the scene going on in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you might want to know about the Femmes thing, but like the elder statesmen were guys like some of them were really cool, man, and some of them weren't. I'll talk about the cool guys.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, like so Sam Giannis, the Bodines. You ever hear of the Bodines?
I've heard of the Bodines, yeah.
Okay, Sam Giannis was and is really a great guy.
Okay.
And he gave us a lot of advice. I wrote a fan letter to Victor DiLorenzo, the original drummer of the Femmes. I literally wrote a letter and sent it in the mail.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
If you don't do that
Because
anymore.
it was on the J card in the cassette.
Like, I don't even know what a J card is.
Oh shit. Okay, I won't hold it against you. Anyway, that's how it rolled, man.
Sure.
And then we connected with him and all that, and he ended up producing one of our records. But then through him, I met people like what's his name, Daryl Sturmer. Do you know who that is? Do you know who Genesis is? Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Yeah.
Okay.
Genesis.
All right.
Genesis.
Cool.
Like the band Genesis.
Yes, the
I've
band.
heard of that.
So he plays guitar. So Daryl plays guitar. And he did play. Well, I don't know what's going on with them.
Okay.
He's a guitar player. He's somewhere in the North Shore.
Sure. Okay.
So now through Victor, I'm sitting there with Daryl Sturmer, who played in all these bands. He came up in the ranks too, just like you will, and
all in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And now I'm sitting there going like, I'm probably your age, going, holy fuck, like what the fuck? I'm sitting here. First of all, the Violent Femmes were like my favorite band, my first concert. And I'm sitting here now with the drummer, and I'm sitting here with the guitar player for fucking Genesis. Like, what the fuck? But they were nice. And Sam Giannis is very nice as well. And so these are really supportive people when I was your age, right?
Uh-huh.
And they
Were
might have
they
been
older than you?
Yeah,
Okay.
they would have been my age, I guess, ish.
Oh, sure, okay.
You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing.
Yep.
And so they were really helpful and supportive. And some of the things they told me I didn't want to hear, but they were right.
Like what?
I would have to think of them. But man, like, so that's why I reached out to you. I was like, this dude's killing it. And so it goes along with the whole clinic thing. Like I could tell you're like, dude, thanks for coming. I'm like, dude, thank you. I have nothing to gain but to give you. We have to give back, and your day is gonna come.
Yeah,
I guarantee that. You're a go-getter. You got your shit together, man.
Thank you.
And whatever happens. But it's gonna be your turn. It's gonna be your time sometime.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah, man.
definitely.
So that's my whole thing, and. Yeah, I'll stop talking. You can ask all your questions because I have my notes for later.
Yeah, right. One thing I was going to say when you said that you were hanging up posters all around Bayview trying to get people to go to Cactus Club, that doesn't really exist these days, or at least how I go.
Go ahead.
Marketing.
You're not going to offend me.
All on the
Tease
internet.
me all you want.
It's crazy how much of the internet has influenced the scene, I think.
Dude, booking, the first time when I had my rock band, first time we went out to New York, it was like, they have an email. They have email. We don't, because we would have to cold call.
Sure. Yeah.
And it would be always like in the afternoon, like, hey, I forgot what the book was. There was like a magazine that came out. I was the guy that did the booking for the band.
Okay.
Right? I was always like you. I was pounding, right?
For the Femmes?
No.
Okay.
For my band of Danglers.
Gotcha.
But there was some sort of a book, right? And it had every state, all the venues, all the numbers, and you would just get on the phone. Hey, is Steve there? And you would have to call in the daytime, right?
Right.
Because that's when they were the book. Because you don't call at night because there's
Running
the gigs
shows.
happening,
Yeah.
right? Shows. No, he's not here. No. Or like taking your demo. Like I don't know if So when I came into the scene or into in the music world, it was like we had cassette CDs were still just kind of like, oh shit, we can't afford that.
Okay. Wow.
We can't afford that. Not even burning them.
Wow.
It was like, I don't have a burner.
Yeah. Okay.
That was like, like, wow, I have a fucking computer where I can burn CDs. So we had cassettes, and so you put the cassette in, and then you hoped that one of the guys in the band had a girlfriend that was going to school at UWM,
Right.
so she could do your glossy 8x10 glossy. You needed a press photo.
Oh, sure.
So it would be a press photo.
Yep.
Then you needed your bio.
Yep.
On a piece of paper.
Gosh.
An actual photo. Then you had to come up with use band fund, right? Use band fund to pay for the glossies,
Wow.
right? And then go to Kinko's to print out the bio, and then cassettes. Then you had to buy the cassettes, and you were dubbing off the master of whatever you recorded, put it in an envelope, and send it out. If you were out of state, right, for an out of state gig.
Yep.
Otherwise, you would go to Cactus Club. You would sit there, or eat Linneman's, or Quarters. You would sit there, and we would use band fund to buy a couple drinks and hope that whoever was booking would be there. Wow. And then be like, hey, hey. Like, hey, man, did you listen? And then have to call back.
Yep.
Then come back, buy a couple beers, you know what I mean? And be like, oh, hey, hey, yeah, I mentioned it. Did you have a chance to listen? Nobody listens to shit. And if they do, it's like, in those days, it was like, first song, they didn't like it,
Yep.
out.
Right.
Or, I can't blame them now, but it's like, how many people are you going to bring?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame them, right? Because you make money off the liquor sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's business. But in those days, it was like, we're fucking awesome, man. Why aren't you booking us?
Yeah.
Or the other place it was called the Globe. And it's funny because it was, I don't know what it's called now. It's on North. And at that time, the woman that owned it and ran it, her name is Leah. Now, I see her around town. Okay. And I always like, because I'm a smartass, I go up to her, I'm like, excuse me. She's like, yeah. I said, I sent you my demo. I was just wondering. And she's like, get the fuck out of here. You know, it's like, because that's how it was back in the day. Right. Yeah. So the whole scene in River West was, so going back to River West, and I know you haven't asked any questions.
I'm just soaking this up.
Yeah, oh, good. Yeah, because I'm great at talking.
This is great.
Listen,
this is
my
perfect.
girlfriend probably loves that I'm sitting here with you, because that way I won't fucking tell her all the same stories over and over all night. And I know it seems like old guy shit, but I feel like I'm trying to pass it, or just perspective, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, going back to the River West thing, it was cool. Like, you know, I don't know what it's like now because I'm doing different things. Not that I'm above and beyond it, but, you know, there'd be like here in your place, there would be a gallery. You know, there'd be art. Hey, listen, Friday night, my friend does photography, and I got another friend, this girl I'm dating, and she does paintings, and we're going to have a thing here in my place, and you want to play. Or we would do gallery nights in the 3rd Ward, you know what I mean? And, but I mean, as far as River West, that's how it rolled, you know?
DIY.
Installations and shit. I did a gig. There was in a basement. It's one left to... Maybe it was in the basement of Fuel, or one left of there. It was like a pillow. You went in the basement. We were playing down there, and it was like all pillows and all that. It was very artistic, and I don't know what it's like now. Maybe it's the same thing, but yeah, that was really cool, you know?
Yeah.
Now, Bremen started kind of after I started doing the touring and all that.
Okay.
You know, but I have been there. I've played there, and it's a really great scene.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like it's a really nice thing for, you know what I mean, for younger, not younger, but, you know,
starting out.
They're flexible. Yeah. It's a place you can go and hang out.
You always say it's like a rite of passage to play at Bremen if you're a Milwaukee musician.
So that's what Linneman's was for us.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Quarters was, Quarters.
Yeah. That's the same reaction, I would say.
Yeah.
It's Quarters.
Yeah, and it went through a weird period there. But, yeah, and maybe you're like, oh, wow, fuck, we just played at the Uptowner. It's like, what were you playing an Uptowner for? It was like, well, it was a private party. You know, so at least for me and my band at the time, it was like you're scrapping. Because we would just go into a fucking bar and we would just set up and play acoustic, just like the Femmes used to do it back in the day, you know. And that's the irony is that now you're here, and I always loved River West. I'm not super thrilled about the crime, you know, and the bullshit.
Yep.
You know, but it's what it is. But the community's always been very artistic, you know, even going back to the Femmes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because we were talking about, you know.
You must know their history on how they started. So they started in River West, is what we were talking about before.
Well, see now here, I mean, they may be like, no, you don't really know, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the new guy in the band.
Right.
I mean, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the first album. Wow. 40th.
So
you
were 6 years old then.
Totally. Right? I'm the new guy. I've been with him like almost 20 years. But yeah, I think so. As far as I know, Victor lived on Center, and he worked at Jazz Gallery.
Okay.
And I think that his wife worked there as well. And then they got a residency there, playing I think it was every Tuesday. And they rehearsed at Victor's place here in River West, you know. Yep. And of course, excuse me, they played in all over. They were the same way. They took whatever they can, you know, any gig they can get.
Yep.
Which, you know, here's the thing about those guys. They're amazing. Everybody loves Violent Femmes, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I do as well. But imagine, like, they weren't well received. Yeah, I mean, they did the Jazz Gallery thing, as far as I know and what I've heard. I've been around those guys for a while. But, like, people, like, everybody likes to say, well, I was at that show when you guys played with the Open Up for the Pretenders. And it's like, yeah, but you guys are booing. Wow. They booed the Femmes, Wow. So now you're, you know what I mean? Like,
we're hopping on the bandwagon.
Now, really? Oh, now? Yeah. It's the same thing with a lot of my other friends who played shows with Nirvana when they came through.
All right, sure. Yeah.
Dude, and it's like, my buddy, he said, yeah, we were playing with Nirvana at, I forget where it was. It might have been, I forget what the venue was. But he's like, there was like 6 people there, 8 people there. Wow. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, I was at that gig. He's like, dude, no. Anyways, I'm not trying to be negative, but with the Femmes thing and the connection to River West, yeah. As far as I know, yeah. Victor,
so when did you join?
In 2005.
2005.
Yeah, so I was playing with the Danglers, and Dave Gelting, who actually lives here in River West, he's a bass player. He's like, Brian Ritchie from Violent Femmes, he plays shakuhachi. It's a Japanese flute.
Okay.
He's like, he wants to start like a jazz trio. I was like, dude, get me on that gig, dude. Come on, man. I already knew Victor, and Victor had produced our albums. Victor wasn't back in the Femmes at that point. But I was like, dude, get me that gig, dude. Come on, man. Yeah. He's like, well, Brian said, you come on over and we can, we'll jam.
Right.
And fortunately, Dave and I had a good rapport musically. And then Brian said, all right, this is cool. And then we just started doing gigs, and I started becoming friendly with Brian Ritchie. And then one day, now Victor had then come back into the band, and Brian said, why don't you come over to the apartment? He was living here back in Milwaukee again. And I said, oh, cool, man. Yeah, hang out. And there was a cajon, and he said, can you play this thing? I said, yeah, I can play it. Like, dude, I can fake it. I'm a drummer. I'm like, what do you want me to play? Yeah. I can play on a table, right here. I can, yeah, no problem. And yeah, he just started playing. He started just jamming with me, like on the bass, playing different feels, which was weird because he never really played bass with me ever. It was the shakuhachi. And then he turned on the first album, and I was like, he's like, play to this. And I played to it. Dude, thank God, because I was 14, and I'm sure you might have this in your...
You were 14?
No, hear me out. I was 14 when I heard that album.
Oh, okay.
And I would sit in the basement and pretend I was in a band.
Wild.
You know what I mean?
Wild, yeah.
We all have that moment with different bands. That's what I'm saying. Like, you might be able to relate to that. You know how you know an album front to...
Wild.
Yeah. And so I was like, thank God I know this fucking album.
Right.
I know everything. I know I know how to play off of Brian. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And he's like, cool. I was like, what's this? He's like, well, we're going on tour. You're going on tour. This is the number of the tour manager.
Holy shit.
And I was like, I didn't even know I was being auditioned.
Yeah.
Fuck to the yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So I fly down. I forgot where. It's like South Carolina or something. And next day, first time on a tour bus, dude. I've never been on a tour bus at that point. I've been in the van, grinding, right?
Yep.
Shit's breaking down in fucking Stevens Point. I'm jumping the starter with a spoon, dude, in the middle of winter, right? Yeah. You know how you go on the mic after the gig going, hey, so we don't have anywhere to say. You know what I mean?
Sure,
anybody got a place? Yep. Staying on floors. Yep. Dude, now on a bus. And so that was really, and then now it's the first time I'm meeting Gordon Gano. And I'm like, first of all, I'm on a bus. I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking, I did it.
Who's Gordon Gano?
Gordon Gano's the lead singer of Violent Femmes. So I'm like sitting there like, holy shit. I'm just still like looking at the bus. Now I'm looking at the guy that, you know what I mean? Like, this is the band I always wanted to be in this band.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, nice to meet you. And so, yeah, and I know I tell this, I have to tell this story. It's my story. So then, so I got really sick. It was a 3-day run. I got sick or something, but I powered through because I'm like, fuck, this is my dream. I got to the third gig. Tour manager says, Do you have a passport? Dude, I grew up on the south side of Milwaukee. You know, like, man, I went to Chicago a few times.
Yeah.
Or no, I went to New York, but you know what I'm saying? Out of the country, nothing. I was like, no, why? He's like, well, we're going to South Africa.
What?
I'm like, and like, you know what I mean, man? Like, I know this story is probably like crazy, but well, it's my story. It's true. I was like, okay, well, no, but I'll get one. He's like, yeah, you got to get a passport, man, because we're going to South Africa. And that was my first time leaving the country. Not England.
And it was that same tour that you
No. So there was a little bit of time before we went and did that, right?
Yep.
And so it's not like, no, not Spain, not Italy, South Africa.
Wow.
And then I had to get a calling card. There was
What's a calling card?
It was so I could use the payphone.
Sure. Right. Okay.
So I could call back home and check in. I was married at the time. So I could, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then everything just, I mean, I don't want to bore you with all the little details.
No.
So then it's like, and this will happen to you because I believe that, you know. Next thing you know, you're going to be whoever your idols are and the people that, or even if they're not your idols, people that you look up to in the music world. Yeah. I know this. You're going to be standing there going, in my case, it was like, oh, all right, that's Fergie, or that's Lou Reed, or
Dave Grohl.
You know, that's I haven't, but Taylor Hawkins, you know, like standing there, he was a really sweet, you know, rest in peace. Yeah. But he was a great guy. The list goes on and on because now you're in a shit.
Yeah.
I don't mean shit in a negative way, but now you're out in a shit, man, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I remember being on the bus and I'm like, oh, fuck. I know I can play. I know I'm good. That's why I'm here. And then I shit you not, dude. I listened to Eminem, Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
You get one chance in life. I was sitting there listening to it in my earphones and I'm like, you don't let this shit slide, man. And then you go after it. And so that's what I did, you know, and then all the not bullshit, but all the stories, you know, I mean, all the people I met and all that. And through the years, I know you haven't asked one fucking question. I'm like, it's like a biography. I'm like, so sorry, everyone. Like, this is therapy, you know. My girlfriend thanks you. You know, like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, but I fit, you know.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, again, coming back, the through line, this shit all started in Milwaukee, man.
Wild.
All in Milwaukee. You know, the Bodine started in Waukesha, but, you know, still local. I don't know that Bonavere. I don't know him. I've never worked with him, but you know, we should be really proud. You know, when I was talking about, look, I have my notes about all the people, the things they said, but we should be very proud of not just Milwaukee, but Wisconsin music and of course artists. You know, the list goes on. Steve Miller. You know, I mean, so many great musicians came out of this city.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of our through line too. That's why I was inspired to come here and just shoot the shit. I was like, "Can we get a beer?"
It's interesting the lineage here.
Yeah, man.
How the scene has developed, and I've talked with
who's big right now. I'm sorry, I'm honestly admitting
in
that.
The scene here.
Yeah, who's big? Are you guys big? Because you guys looks like you guys are selling shit. I don't. If you're afraid to answer that. Because you don't want to be.
I've been asked that, and
because I know how it is, man.
You know,
remember when I was telling you about River, like the weird caddy shit?
Yeah.
So you don't have if you actually are, because dude, you're selling shit out.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say it.
Well, it's
name another band.
It is true. You know, it's. I think there was a resurgence of the Milwaukee scene after COVID, and that's really when I started to get this project off the ground.
Sure.
Just started doing every single show we could get our hands on. Specifically, last spring. It's only been I've been doing shows since I was in high school. I was in a band in high school, and really was doing shows like 2018, 2019. Just trying to scrape together some basement shows with the drummer, and I did some Cajon acoustic sets.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of going for the 4-piece.
I saw that in the video. Yeah.
And so Jacob Slade, Austin Wood, and Kainoa D. Those 3 guys. It's been just over a year now that with that 4 lineup that we've been doing shows almost every weekend, 2 every weekend, and it's been the best that like experience. The support out of Milwaukee for Social Sig in particular has just been overwhelming in the best way. And
how's so? I mean, I'm not interviewing you. I think this is more of just
it's
kind
a
of
conversation.
What dictates turnout nowadays? I don't know.
Yeah,
Social media.
I
certainly you're not hanging up posters anymore.
No, I always social media to answer that question.
Yeah.
Social media, posting flyers on Instagram, messaging people the ticket link on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So we've gotten some pretty crazy opportunities. Specifically March 2nd, 2022, a band called Wet Leg was coming to the Pabst Theater to open for or to perform, and they asked
you get the slot
me to open for them.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
how did that work?
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail, of course, but like, how do you? So it's because I don't know who's booking over there. Is that at
Pabst Theater Group?
Who's that? Who's the book? Somebody? Is it Mark?
Kit Pellegrini.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Buyer.
Yeah, I may or may not know.
Yeah.
But so they saw that you guys are like, okay, we need a local opener. They're drawing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for you, man.
Steady drawing. I mean, that was still in the earlier like kind of shows were coming back kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we were one of the only bands started to do
fuck
things.
too, man. I feel bad for you because you know you're coming up. You were coming up. You are still coming up, but like during that shit show, it's like I really don't need to see another video of you playing a fucking drum fill. Like you know what I mean during COVID.
Oh sure, like
you know what I mean. Listen, I'm not saying that you suck, man. Like Jesus, fuck. You know, like
yeah.
But
very out of touch with reality.
Yeah, you were coming up during a tough time, man.
Yeah, it was kind of a blessing in disguise though for me. I was really I mean, around that time I was graduating college, a lot of turbulence, moving, and just really try to figure out what I wanted to do. And then 2021, 22, I started to just I'm gonna go for this, and
now's your time.
Got all of my.
You're
ducks
kicking
in a
ass,
row.
dude.
Thank
Again,
you.
I know. I keep.
Thank you.
I'm. You know, like I keep. Well, that's the thing, man. Is that's why we're sitting here. You know, it's like fuck, this dude's getting after it.
And going back to the opportunities as far as opening for Wet Leg, and we got to and shout out the Pabst Theater Group because they're
fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And they've been a huge proponent of supporting Social Sig specifically, but other acts in the local Milwaukee scene, especially.
Good. Yeah. See, I don't know any of the other groups. You know what
I
mean?
Yeah.
Because when I was watching a lot of your videos, you know, it was like I was watching and you're like, you guys were talking and you're talking about the support and all that stuff, but. So that's the thing. Like
everyone's kind of friends with each other.
Thank God.
Everyone goes to each other's shows.
Once. Oh my God.
It's wild that like it would be strange for someone to kind of toss shade at somebody, at least in the circle that I'm in.
Good.
You know,
that's
I'm
great. I'm happy to
you
hear
know?
that. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, and it's so tight knit. Like Milwaukee's just so small.
Small Milwaukee.
Yeah, small Milwaukee. Everyone knows each other. So
well, I'm happy to hear it's positive. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to be negative. I mean, fortunately for me, I've been able to tour the world and play with some amazing artists, but it was not as cool. It wasn't as cool when I was, telling you earlier. It was not like that. So I was like watching him. Literally, I'm like, look at my phone, and I name my readers a fucking old guy. No, but I'm like watching these videos, man, and I'm like, is it really like that, or is it that everybody's just saying that because they don't want to have a fucking beef with
on the internet?
No, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, if that's truly the case, and you could even be lying, but I believe you.
Yeah. As far as, I mean,
I'm happy to hear that, man.
Maybe
you need to have that network,
I mean, I think with the internet and just
scenes happen that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Think about this, like, so when I was in high school, of course, aside from the Femmes, through the 80s, it was weird and all that shit. But then the 90s hit. We didn't have, the 90s became our, like, 60s. You know what I mean? It became our Janis Joplin, our Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, right.
And all of a sudden now it's like, I remember watching Nirvana I'm like, holy fuck, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't Guns N' Roses. This isn't Metallica.
Right. The hair metal bands. Yeah.
I mean, some of it I actually like. Don't hold it against me.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me. But so now the 90s happened, and it was like all those people were friends. You know, like you had Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana.
Yeah.
The Femmes actually started in the 80s, but now they got kind of put in. They just were still going.
Over.
You know,
yeah.
Primus.
Primus. Yeah.
Oh man, I met Les Claypool. I was like, I am John Sparrow. I play with, you know. He's like, nice to meet you. Like,
wait, who is that you met?
Les Claypool.
Okay, I'm not sure if I know.
He's the bass player in Primus.
Oh, okay. He's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh.
holy shit!
I didn't want to be that guy that's telling all the fucking stories. You know, like,
ooh. No, I'm so interested in them all.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And it's like that's the other thing. Well, anyways, so you know that was an explosion of a really great music situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now finally, I am in high school, and now we have our 60s. You know, like it's now our, you know, all of a sudden everybody was buying fucking flannel shirts and all that stuff. I worked at Goodwill, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like, well, wait a minute, there's like all these kind of good-looking people coming in here, and they're buying like, oh, what are you, flannel shirts? Oh, that's right, yeah, the grunge. But they had a scene, you know, and so. That's happened. You know, there was a New York scene. It's at one point. You know, I mean, you know, through the years, there's you know, these bands that. So hopefully Milwaukee can have that. You know, are you familiar with the Kreutzen?
The Kreutzen.
Yeah, they're a Milwaukee band. So the Kreutzen is like they're the unsung heroes of Milwaukee in a lot of ways. The Femmes are very successful, of course, but like the Kreutzen. They were offered, they're a great band, and they were offered a lot of deals from what I've heard. I don't know this firsthand, of course. And I don't know if they turn them down or what. Dude, major deals, like record deals. You know, back in the day when there was record deals.
Right.
And they actually threw money at you.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know what happened there. But then you hear these interviews with bands like Soundgarden. You know what I mean, or all these different bands in that era. Than when I'm coming up, and they're like, "Well, I was really influenced by the Kreutzen," and it's like, wait a minute.
Right.
I know those guys. They're from here. I ended up playing with those guys. It's like super fucking great musicians.
What kind of music is the Kreutzen?
You know what? I don't even want to say because I don't want to be wrong.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like,
okay.
So who's popular in town?
Right.
Oh, nobody, because I don't want to ruin it. You know, they were like, I guess to me it was like rock. They're like rock. They're like punk rock. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, the scenes, you know, so I'm happy to hear that maybe you guys will have a, you know, I would support it. I'm just in a fucked up situation because, so I go on tour, or I'll play locally, like I do jazz gigs and stuff like that. And then I'll fly out, like I just did this clinic and all that. But like, then I'm home and I'm like, because it's not like one of those douchebag, like, oh, okay, you're like touring with the Femmes. Okay, rockstar. You know, because that's what I used to think when I was in my 20s. Oh, yeah, you don't want to come out? Okay, man. Oh, I see. You're too cool. Now I realize maybe they just don't know. They didn't know, like, what the fuck's going on.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? Like,
it seems like it happened
so like
real fast.
Yeah, it did. And then it's like a tidal wave, you know, like it just, and then there was some time off, and then I was playing locally. I started touring with jazz groups, and I tried to get into Smashing Pumpkins once.
Holy shit.
I tried. Because the Femmes weren't touring and all this stuff at the time, and I was like, oh shit, well, I can do that one. I could never match Jimmy Chamberlain. He's one of my idols. But yeah, so this tidal wave, excuse me. And then I started teaching, and I was raising kids and all this shit.
Yep.
But I got separated from the scene. It wasn't, you know, from Milwaukee music. It wasn't because I was like, oh, fucking rock star bullshit, because that's not who I am, you know? So like, I'm kind of like sitting here, even though I'm yapping about myself, going, so what's going on, dude?
Right, yeah.
Tell me.
No.
Because I found you.
Yeah, right.
So I know I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
What's everybody else doing, bro?
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's one thing about the Milwaukee scene right now is I hear pretty often is that you could go to a show and find so many different genres. Specifically, I'm more familiar with the indie, with the rock and roll, punk kind of scene. Everyone kind of has their own thing to offer, whatever kind of artist they are. Like Micah Emmerich, you're mentioning. He's like an alternative pop kind of singer.
Very intelligent.
Yeah.
Was a very. I was watching it. I really and see now I learned. That's through you. I learned about him. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. Very intelligent. Like smart.
I'll let him know.
Well, he'll probably see us, or maybe he won't. But yeah, very intelligent.
I went to high school with him.
Oh, awesome, cool.
He's a longtime friend of mine.
Cool.
And then as far as just going to shows, like you'll be surprised at the diversity that Milwaukee has right now in its music scene. So it's really cool to kind of feel that in a small city, and I kind of am prideful in that. Like you can really be who you want to be, and you'll stand out in Milwaukee. I think that it really, and that's what has helped me. Sure, is that I'm just doing what I want to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, but you're good and you get your shit sorted, you know. And you know, I'm gonna say something about you too. You know, I am gonna stroke your ego maybe, but no, but it's all from an honest place. I was, because I watched it. It's like you know how hard it was for, at least for us. It was my band, and it's not that we sucked because we were great, but dude, to get gigs out of town, you're tour, like, dude, you go out.
Try to get out as much as possible.
No, but you do. That was not easy for at least my band at the time.
Yeah.
You know, some bands were doing that. You know what I mean? And I had friends, like our tour manager, he was his band was called the Buzzhorn. Dude, they got a fucking huge advance. They were signed. So that was happening at that time when I was coming up. They were great. They got signed. Some other bands got signed, but like in general, it was hard to go out and grind. Like,
yeah.
If we could get a gig at the Empty Bottle, or where did you play? Subterranean. Where's it?
Sub T?
Yeah. That was around.
Yeah.
Dude, it was hard. Yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, I didn't, listen, we were not a pop band, but like, you know, and you have to prove you bring in a crowd. But then the networking was harder. Right. I think too, you know what I mean? Like, now it's easier with the, you know, with the internet, right?
Huge advantage with the internet.
So you're killing it.
Thank you.
But yeah.
And even with the internet too, I think that you might agree or disagree with this and how the music, I guess, industry has been going as far
Lay it
as
on me. Come
TikTok.
On. I could, listen,
TikTok.
Listen, I could see it in your eyes.
Do you know what TikTok is?
You know, I just met you, but I could tell when you're ready to like blast some, like, I don't know, not honest, like, not you're lying, but like I could tell you're like, okay, let's go. Let's have this conversation. TikTok.
No. I'm not a debater. I'm not a debater.
I'm not saying we're debating, but I could tell you're about to say something to me. Okay. And you're like, you know, it's going to stir some sort of a pot.
Yeah.
Man. So here's the thing.
It's like my perspective, and I think a lot of my peers in the music scene, it's like you see all these bands on TikTok and these artists who
don't.
Yeah, right. Which is probably a blessing for you, honestly.
I don't
it's
know.
better to not see
I'm going to work
shit.
on it. I promise. I added you taking those pictures that my girlfriend told you to take.
Yeah, no, we'll get those. Yeah.
But, okay.
But it's almost as far as like labels go and being signed to a label.
Those days are over.
I truly believe, and I don't really.
I mean, they're not over, but it's still there-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anyone to really look for as a role model in this kind of situation, but I truly believe that the artistry that I want to do and the goals that I want to hit, right now I just want to be a small name on a big festival flyer. You know, I don't want to be the huge name. I just want to make some festivals and have a small community, maybe like not small, but a consistent, very dedicated fan base and community around this project.
Well, sure, that's going to keep you working.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, hello.
I know.
You know the band I'm in?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
There's grandmothers, daughters, and granddaughters. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Dedicated fan base. Got it. Sure. How's the merchandise going though? Yeah, that's the other thing, you know.
Merch, and then like Patreon is kind of something I've been looking at, and just try to like just
not
do
that
everything.
I know everything, man. I'm
fully independent. Like how do the Femmes do it right now? Is there like a label or like a record?
Yeah, we're on a label. It's not like what people think. You know, like it's like major label. But that's hard to say as far as how we operate. You know, and that I don't really. Because I'm not involved in that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But one thing I can say as far as my observation and what I've noticed is not from the Femmes, but just kind of in general, because our merchandise guy, Connor, he's just fucking phenomenal, younger guy. He goes out and he's doing merch for all these other bands, younger bands, you know, all different types. And so I learn a lot from him. Then I watch what goes on when we're on the road, and I see how other bands. You know, what I mean, listen, you got to be a moron not to. If you're not paying attention to what's going on, then you're a moron. Can I say moron? Am I gonna get canceled?
No.
No, but what I would say is, and it's a bad joke, but the merchandising seems to be the thing. I mean, how does Justin Bieber sell his catalog? I don't even know. You know, so a lot of those artists, the bigger artists, they seem to be making a lot of money off of selling their catalogs, but they're still able to. They seem to still be able to pull in, even with the Femmes. You know, we're getting guarantees, as you would say, right? Ticket sales. But how? I don't know how. Like for you, right? My only guess, and I'm not saying I know everything, but I guess you're. I mean, I would suggest, dude. Keep writing. Get in one of those licensing houses. Get yourself set up with BMI and ASCAP.
Yep, signed up.
Boom,
already.
You're good, cool. You know, and then get in with a licensing house, and
what is that? Licensing
house?
Like
anytime there's a commercial, just like actors, right?
Right.
I mean, you get a call back or you get an audition. Well, so these licensing houses, they're like client needs. And they'll tell you how much money it pays based on the flags or whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. But like. They need a song for this type of commercial or movie or whatever the hell it is, right? That has this feel. And you just submit. Boom. You just keep, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this song that I have, yep, this would probably work for this. You know, it's like, how to explain it? They're like recruiters.
Sure.
I need, recruiters like, I need somebody that's going to do this job. Well, they're just basically, these licensing houses are just recruiters. So Coca-Cola calls and they're like, I want a song with this kind of vibe. And then you submit.
Yeah.
Well, then you get that licensing money.
Right.
Next thing you know, I mean, I'm not saying that this is how it works. Don't anybody hold this against me. But then next thing you know, it's like, fuck, I like that. Did you see that, did you see that thing on here? And it's like, who is that band? Next, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now you're out, and then it's like, oh shit, that band's awesome. Then hopefully you can go out on the road, fucking hit the merchandise, smart merchandising. Shit, it could be even like whatever it is. You're a marketing guy, so I think you're pretty smart. You know what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
So what was so my girlfriend was telling me something about like Sony. She was telling me this last night. Now, if she's a writer or not, I don't know. She's an actor, but she might have been lying. But like Sony is now what did she say? So Sony's going to these TikTok people, like the influencers, and having them use the music that they have in their catalogs, whether they own it or, like it's their artists that they have signed.
Yep.
She's like, yeah, they're saying they're grabbing the TikTok people and saying, here, we'll do this with you. Now, I could sound like a stupid idiot, and everybody might, after this comes out, they're like, that guy doesn't know shit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, but so
no,
like,
that's a good point that I've never
so the
heard
business,
before.
the business model seems to, so we were talking about cassettes, right? And 8x10 glossies. Well, the business model just changed. You just kind of have to be, like work with it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the last I heard. You know what I mean? I heard that she told me that last time. I was like, oh shit. She's like, yeah. Now she could be wrong, but she's like, yeah. After the Fleetwood Mac thing, you know what I mean? What
was the Fleetwood Mac?
The dude on the skateboard, and he was drinking Ocean Spray. You know what I mean?
No.
The Fleetwood Mac song, and he was, they bought him a truck and all this shit.
No.
Well, anyways, okay. So she claims that was the kind of like the turning point of when now these labels, especially Sony, they're starting to engage with the influencers, you know what I mean, and TikTok people.
Gotcha.
You know? So is that all true? I fucking don't know.
I think
if it was true, I would have been on it, and I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be in New York in my apartment, you know. No, but I mean, we're always kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's interesting that everyone has TikTok these days. And
on a TikTok thing. Okay, yeah, I'm not against it.
Yeah.
But, like, dude, don't be on Facebook, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have to. I'm trying to figure out my passwords. I'm serious, dude. Like, into that meta thing. You guys can laugh at me all you want, fuckers. But listen, so I'm dealing with that.
We're all still trying to figure that out, too.
I'm like, what do you mean? This is the password. I don't. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to go on there. I'm going to post separately. So, like, I don't want to judge anyone. But, like, yeah, so my girlfriend, she's a lot younger than me. And she's on TikTok. But Instagram is kind of like where I'm at.
I like Instagram.
I really do like that. And you could, and then you could post there, and it shoots over to Facebook, for everybody that's over 50,
Yep. Right. The older demographic for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so like, I just went to a business account on Facebook in 2013. I was just like, because I was kind of tired of reading, because, it's shoved on your throat. Everybody's, you're reading about everybody's, and all the arguing back and forth. And I really I do still like Twitter. I'm just not as active on there as I used to be, because once I found Instagram, I'm like, this is awesome.
Right.
You can kind of use it
to get in between.
It's a great way of saying it. Yeah. But and I like it. But the internet is a necessary evil, of course.
Yeah.
So. God, I've been just yapping.
Yeah, no. I said, I am just absorbing.
Listen, again, my girlfriend's going to thank you for this. But do you have any questions of me?
Man, I guess.
I told you I got in a band, and
you got in a band. What happened with your original band after you joined the Femmes?
Well, that band was together for about 15 or 18 years or something like that, and the violin player, he moved out of town. The bass player still lives here in town. As a matter of fact, if you ever want to record, he's right over here on Center Street.
Sure.
He's a great engineer and producer.
What's his name?
Dave Gelting.
Dave Gelting, okay.
Yeah, he's great. He's done a lot of stuff there. And then again, it goes back to now I'm touring, Now I'm out. Now I'm grinding at a different level.
How often do you tour then? How long are you on the road, and what is your
pre-COVID
your
is one thing, but after COVID, it's about like maybe 4 months a year, I guess. 4 months out of a year. Yeah.
And then what are you doing in between those months?
Waiting for the next tour.
Sure.
No, I mean, I play locally. Excuse me. I play locally with like jazz band. I've got a group that's called Old Salmon at Teardrops. The lead singer is fantastic. Poopy Costello. I'm talking about all these old guys.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's not gonna. You're like, cool. Keep going, John.
Following along.
Yeah. Nod.
I just picture some old rocker in my head.
Yeah, that's what we are, I guess.
Names,
yeah. No, so that's what I do when I'm at home, And now, like I said, I did a clinic, and the Femmes are going out. I think the first date is May 4th. So we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the first record. And so we're going to start on the West Coast, and we're going to do 2 weeks. And then we'll be off in the summer. I'm going to play locally a bunch, probably go and do some more clinic work with Rock Academy. And then in the fall, we're going to hit it again, the Femmes,
Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, listen, man, that's an iconic record. You know who the Femmes are.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Wait, who are you?
and how should I know you?
Yeah.
There's a story for you. You want a story? Okay. Because I can, and I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing.
We're here for the stories.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like to be that douche, So Femmes were playing in Los Angeles, and our guitar tech, and also another great. He's our producer. He produced a bunch of albums for us. Jeff Hamilton. He's got Hamtone Studios here in Milwaukee. The Ladybug Building.
Oh yeah,
dude,
yeah, totally.
Dude, that's
a record or a studio.
Right to the right. He's got a studio.
Gotcha.
Hamtone. Check that dude out.
Interesting.
Because he'll teach you. He taught me so much, whether it was about singing or producing. He didn't do so great with the singing part, but but he's amazing. Anyway, so we were playing with the bill was Violent Femmes, Cheap Trick, Journey, all the old guys, right? Journey, Def Leppard, Billy Idol, and so he said, so here's the thing, Jeff is 10 years older than I am. So he's like a mentor, right?
Yep.
But he said, Johnny, that's Neil Sean over there from Journey. And I said, yeah. Now, this is flip phones, but it doesn't matter regardless. He goes, I need you to take a picture of me with him. I said, okay, cool, no problem. But I know how, once you at that level, you got to like kind of, you got to have to know how to carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be respectful. You don't know if or even if you're respectful, someone's going to be a fucking knob and be an asshole. You know what I mean? Because who knows? They have a headache or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, dude. All right. And this dude was in Santana when he was 17. Jeez. Neil Sean, right? And he started Journey. I was like, okay, Jeff. Wow. So we went up there, and I'm standing there with my flip phone, and I was like, and he's like, talking. He's like, hey, and Neil's just standing here like this, looking forward. Not even Jeff's talking to him. He's like, Neil, big fan, and then he just turns to Jeff and he goes, and I should know you why? And I went like, and then he goes, Jeff handled it right. Jeff goes, that's fucking amazing. You just said it to me. And then Neil turns his head in my direction. And I said, look at me, Jeff. All right, we're done. Fucking but I always love that. Like, I should know you why.
Right.
I've been fortunate, man. I haven't had any of those. I haven't had any of those kind of like experiences. All mine were. I don't like to tell my stories, but that's the other thing too, man.
So, but you still got the picture, though, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I do. It's on my flip phone.
Sure.
You're welcome, Jeff.
Yeah, right.
No, man, but like. That's the other thing too. You're a musician, and I don't know if you ever get this, and I'm sure you have. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It's like, oh, I saw you guys partying and doing blow and hooker. What, dude? How am I gonna be doing blow and having sex with hooker? Dude, I gotta get in a van, dude. Or in my case now, right at this level, no. First of all, I don't do drugs. I mean, I drink. I have beers or mixed drinks, or my big thing is like, oh shit, I like to go out to eat and have nice you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I got a lady, man. I'm not cheating on my lady, and then it's like I'm not doing blow. Like, could you imagine? I might have a fucking heart attack, or even if like when how you're gonna miss bus call if you're all high or whatever on drugs, man. So like
you're working.
You're correct, and that's a big thing with like Brian Ritchie always. It was never a concern with me, but like we would have a general conversation. He's like, it's a fucking job.
Yeah.
Like these people are paying, man, to come here and watch us. Like, what are you're gonna go on stage fucked up? What a disservice to these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it wasn't for these people, man, we went.
Right.
And it's not how it is, and so a lot of my non-musician friends, that's why I wonder, I'm sure you get it too, like, so what's it like out there? Right. You're like, because I saw you flew to Denver, right?
Yeah.
So what was going on? So we're like, I don't know if you have a partner or anything, but like, so
my girlfriend came with. Yeah, it was fun.
Fair.
It was a fun.
But you know what I mean? Like some dudes, like your buddies or something, they're like, so what's up, bro? Like, did you rage? I mean, maybe you had fun, right? An after party, fine, fair enough. But you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that's not, like, I mean, I did all, I was never a mess,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody gets drunk and shit, and I smoked all my weed, but like, you can't do that.
Right.
If you want to have a career, you can't be fucked,
Right.
You have to handle yourself like a professional.
Yeah.
Again, it goes, and I love to see and I think that's why I really was drawn to on so many levels. And you saying that, it's like, this is a job.
Right.
That's
yeah.
right, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the greatest fucking job in the
Yeah,
world.
it's been fun so far. Yeah, I'm sure
You know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and then when he makes some money,
Yeah.
you know, that's even better. But like it is, and you know, but you still have to kind of keep reminding yourself to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it can be, because like all the shit you must do, you must sit in front of the fucking. I mean, I'm on my phone, you know, but I was on my computer or on my phone or making phone calls. Sometimes you have to step away from that, you know, and you're like, fuck, I know I'm doing all this for this, but by the time you get to the actual what you're doing, you're like, oh, all right, I have to play now. Or you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a crazy balance. It doesn't matter if you know, sending out press packs in the mail or it's on the, you know,
the balance
never
between
changes.
It all,
Yeah,
know?
man.
Yeah. Especially like the last like honestly like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was feeling some pretty crazy burnout for myself. Just I work full-time in property management as a leasing consultant right now, and then do everything I possibly can in my free time, and it's just a balance between all of that, doing shows on weekends.
Yeah.
And then I think just the end of winter always gets to me. I think just
yeah, I was watching one of your videos. You were talking about coming into a winter.
Oh, sure.
Anyways, that's here nor there. Yeah, but yeah, it's fucked. This
Yeah.
is like a weird time of the year.
Yeah.
Here in Wisconsin.
Always, yeah. Daylight savings too. Just
There's that. Yeah.
I kind of liked it this last week though. It just gives me more energy when it's light outside. When I get off of work and all that.
Sure.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I can
yeah,
agree with
good.
that. Yeah. It's just, and it's funny because it's like, as a musician and gigging locally, like when I was doing that, right after New Year's, it's like, it's that weird lull. Like you're like, I don't know if that's the same anymore, but it's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like around that time, like all there's lots of like music or like roundups, like top 10 kind of things and news articles kind of coming out, and then
I don't know.
it just lulls.
Yeah.
Just quiet.
It's a weird.
Hard to get people out to shows.
Yeah, man.
People kind of hibernate a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what? I'm not interviewing you, but I will.
No,
what do you got coming up?
Coming up, let's see. So this Saturday, my good friends in a band called Bug Moments, they opened for us at our first album release show at the Collectivo Backroom way back in August.
Oh, awesome.
They have their album release show on Saturday, so they invited me up to do a song with them.
Nice.
So that's gonna be really sweet.
See, there it is, the community.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's great.
it's actually really insane that like that poster right there, that is really important to me because
it's awesome posters.
yeah, super cool.
Yeah, we didn't have that back in the day.
we
use stones. No, I'm kidding.
stone tablets. Yeah.
We had a hammer.
Right.
Sorry.
But in August, I was talking with the Pabst Theater about doing an album release show at the Back Room, and it's pretty tough for a local act to get a spot there. But just with our
At the Back Room?
at the Back Room,
Really?
Collectivo.
What does that hold? I don't.
300.
Yeah, I don't, because I should be ashamed. I've never been.
It's really cool.
Really?
There's
Yeah,
like
I've heard that.
skylights,
Yeah.
plants everywhere. Really chill venue,
Nice.
but also really
300?
intimate, but really fun. There's a bar and everything, all that good stuff, and.
Nobody drinks in Wisconsin.
Nobody drinks though, so what's it matter? But so did that album release show. It sold out before the show started, and Bug Moment and Scam Likely are two bands that opened up for us.
Cool.
And Scam Likely just had their album release in January at the Back Room.
Sure.
That sold out.
Nice.
Bug Moment is this Saturday. That sold out today.
Shit, man, that's
and
great.
It's really cool just to see that, because I don't think before COVID really, I mean, I wasn't super crazy involved in the music scene like I am right now.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I
But
get it.
from talking to people, it didn't seem like local bands didn't sell out the Back Room.
That I don't know about specifically, but like local bands selling things out, like again, dating myself, like in my day, yeah, that was like.
And I think
you were really had to be killing it
after COVID too. I think a lot of people
COVID
just wants
everything.
to get out,
sure,
and see live music too.
Yeah,
that was a big part of it.
Yeah, but that's great for us, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
of course.
But things for me coming up. We got some shows in Chicago in April. A DIY show in a basement.
Where are you?
And then
See, dude,
Cobra Lounge.
I've heard. It actually sounds familiar.
I had a show in the at the Promontory last night in Chicago.
Oh Jesus! So you mean you're coming off of that?
I drove back last night. Yeah.
I just came back from Chicago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was cool. I was down there doing some recording, and then I went to go see Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall. I don't know if it's a comedy trip. Yeah,
okay,
fair enough. Yeah, I just came up on a train, so I'm cool. Like, I'm a little tired and
yeah, me too.
Well, you're younger than me.
Sure.
I need more water.
Yeah.
A nap.
I did take a nap today. That
God
was
bless
nice.
you. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, dude, if I would have been able to play some basement shows in Chicago, that would have been fucking awesome. Yeah, like some rooftop shows we did.
Oh my god! Oh, rooftop shows.
Yeah, like in the sub. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. But like, so I don't know what's around there anymore. Like, yeah, the basement shows that's it, man. To me, that was where the shit was at.
Crazy.
Of course, you want to get into like. For us, it was Empty Bottle, like I said, or shit. If you could even open up for a band at like the Metro or all those places.
Talia Hall.
That's where I went to see the show.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
And the Femmes,
I was right around there then.
Jesus.
Yeah, the Promontory.
Of course you were. Of course you were. And now we're here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the universe works.
Right.
So that was the other thing too. Not to go too far off, but
we could have carpooled.
Yeah, I'd have bought you your train ticket. I was on a quiet car though. And the Femmes play there. That's a great place. Yeah. But those were right. Ultimately I guess, the fun is for me it was like the basement shows. Then if you kind of start getting into like,
Oh yeah, like
I don't even think it was more I don't think it was about like the money as much as it was just like we needed it. We always wanted it before. Obviously, I was in a Femmes with my other band. It was about getting in front of these fucking people.
Yeah.
And then not just that, but then like the networking, meeting. Oh, hey man, you guys are. If you liked them, right? You're like, fuck, dude, you guys are awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do something. Hey man, so where you guys? You guys are from Pennsylvania. Listen, if you ever come up to Milwaukee, and that's how it all right.
Yep.
That's just common sense to me.
Yep.
But those were great moments,
together. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't even know what's the Cobra Lounge. It's called Cobra Lounge.
Cobra Lounge.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that one. But who knows? I might be there next month. Playing with somebody.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is, like, I know I make all these jokes about myself being old, but like, I'm on a tour bus one day. And flying all over the world, first class or whatever it is. The next, dude, I'm back on I'm in a van.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, man. I'll grind it out.
Right.
That's kind of like that mentality I think we all have. Once you have that, like, that doesn't go away from you, you know?
Yeah.
You just I'll get in a van right now. Like, let's go. I'll play with you a gig. Need a drummer? Boom, we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You might be more worldly experienced than I am, but do you think that comes from being from Midwest Milwaukee?
So that's a great question. Like I wonder if that's a big Midwest, but yeah,
because you have a humbleness to you. You keep
because my mom always would say like, well, listen, everybody puts on their pants the same way.
Yeah.
And just remember, there's always somebody out there that's better than you. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I mean, to a degree. Because honestly, somebody could play, for example, Brian Ritchie to me is like one of the most amazing musicians I've ever played with in my life. And yeah, there's people out there that probably could sit in their basement and learn. But well, hey, bro, you didn't come up with that. It takes a certain kind of person or Gordon, you know what I mean? To write those kind of songs. Like anybody can copy, but it takes a certain kind of person to come up with that. But I don't know where. You were talking about the Midwest being humble. Yeah, I don't know any other way. When I started touring and I'm like in LA and all this shit, right? Mostly like in the West, like LA can be like that, or just it can be anywhere. These guys are like people. Now I'm meeting all these people, right? Mm-hmm. Now here I am. It's like it's a douche, man. Fucking come on, man, get the fuck off it, man. I wouldn't say that, you know what I mean? But like, that's just not how I was raised. So I don't know any other way. You know, I'm very honest. I'm a little bit of a smart ass, but yeah, there is something to be said, I think, about that Midwest mentality, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the weather. I don't know, you know, like
weather keeps you in check a little
because
bit.
I grew up poor because I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I am proud of that big time.
Oh yeah.
You got it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I seem to gravitate towards those kind of people as well. The douchebags don't really work for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, but as personally, you know what I mean? But listen, I'll work with anyone. I love music. I don't need to know what kind of person they are. I mean, if we want to play music together, and because that's what we do, it's like, you're kind of a weirdo. you know, come on, man. You got to learn some tact. Even though I talk like a Polak from the South Side, which I am, you know, like I don't, you know what I mean? Like work it again. It's a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't talk like this if I'm working with a client. I'm talking like this because it's casual conversation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think there is something to be said about that.
Right. So as far as the tour that the tours you have been going on and
like this.
aren't going on,
I like this.
Is that fun to be kind of plugged in like this?
I always back off one ear, like where I'm like I'm tracking.
right.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to be in the cans.
A little bit of both.
So I'm like,
you know,
so I can hear, but I still can hear. Everybody's in ISO booths. You know?
So are the Violent Femmes working on new music?
Well, you know, so that's the thing. Gordon has so much music.
I can imagine.
As Brian writes as well, but yeah, we the last time I recorded was before the pandemic, obviously. Gordon has so many songs. Some of them are like on cassette tapes and shit.
Wow, it's like new ones or just old
from.
Oh, whoa! Yeah.
That dude, he's a very prolific writer. So I almost can't answer that question. I mean, are we working on something? We don't rehearse. I mean, so I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, are we working on something new? If we wanted to record,
what do you mean?
The songs just pop up, but like all of a sudden we just have 15 songs. You know what I mean? Because Gordon is just has so many. So he's just amazing in that way. You know. What do you mean we don't rehearse? What I mean is we don't rehearse.
Whoa. So for the tour coming up,
there's no rehearsals.
You're just going to play.
Nah, man.
You're just going to play.
Because the Femmes they've you know, and that's the thing. I have to give a big shout out to Victor DiLorenzo, the original drummer. You know, obviously he's not in the band anymore. I'm the drummer, but. You know, what those three guys, you know, because obviously he's the drummer, and I really looked up to him, his feel, and he has a jazz sensibility. So does Brian. So do Brian and Gordon. So with that jazz sensibility, it's kind of like, well, okay, yeah, we'll write a song, or I'm sorry, you know, like we'll record a song or something like that. But it's like when we recorded the last album, it was literally we sat here. Listen to it. Okay. What kind of feel? Cool. And then we went and tracked it. There was no, you know, they have those guys have a real jazz sensibility.
Right.
So with jazz comes a lot of improv and not overthinking shit. So like, what do you mean? What are we going to rehearse? That's the other thing too with those songs. Like the majority, in this case, we're going to be doing the first album. You know, the whole first album. I mean, every night those songs are going to be a little different. We're not like, I don't want to diminish the talents of some pop artists, but they go into rehearsals and they're like, they deal with their lighting and whatever the fuck they do. But it's like. You know, it's like, I thought you were like playing that, like you're in the one area, it was like kind of speeding. It's like, fuck that. Or that's not how this part goes. It's like, Gordon might look at me or Brian might change things up. And it's like, okay, we're going there.
Yep.
That's a jazz sensibility. You can't rehearse that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, obviously everybody knows that the basic structure of these songs, what they are.
Yep.
So when I went and did a clinic and I played a lot of Femme songs with those kids, I was like, hey guys, I know you learn the songs the way they are on the album, but we do them a little. Well, we don't do that many times, or so. Well, how are you gonna rehearse that? You know, you know the basic form, and the rest is. That's it.
What you feel
so how do you,
kind of in that moment.
Yeah. So like, how do you just can't rehearse
Is it a 3-piece still?
It is. The band is truly a 3-piece, but we do have Blaze Garza. He plays saxophone.
Oh, cool.
And he does a lot of background vocals. So it's technically the Femmes are a 3-piece.
Yep.
But it's not. It is a 4-piece, so to speak. So like
just to fill it up a little bit.
Yeah. So he plays sax on a lot of songs. He does a lot of backup vocals. He does like auxiliary percussion. And then we have other songs where we have one of the crew guys plays percussion as well. Mike Kasperzak, who's actually he's a drummer in a band when we were all coming up together in the Milwaukee music scene. His band was Mississippi Cactus. So now you have Mississippi Cactus, right? Now we're talking about different types of music, right? So we have Mississippi Cactus, my band, the Danglers, and then Todd, who's a tour manager, his band is called Buzzhorn. We all came up at the same time. As a matter of fact, in the same scene, we had Chris Voss, who was in a band called Freshwater Collins. Well, Chris Voss is now in a band called The Record Company. I don't know if you ever heard of those guys. Huge. Fucking huge, right?
All Milwaukee?
All Milwaukee boys. All our scene, right? Wow. So that's why I admire, I guess, even though I said all of us, we weren't catty. We weren't catty.
That's a question that popped in my head.
We weren't catty. No. And so now we're all doing this. But anyways, going back to who's on stage, Mike Kasperzak, he plays like percussion on some songs, and he's a great drummer, nice guy. I mean, we all came up together.
Cool.
Yeah. So we were not we weren't catty with each other, but we were all different types of music.
Sure. Okay.
And we played shows with each other, and we actually joke about that a lot, like on the bus.
So like the Bills back in the day, were they pretty diverse as far as like what you came to see?
Todd, his band Buzzhorn, and then my band, the Danglers, we even talk about that. It's like, remember when we did that show together? And he's like, that was the dumbest shit ever. and not even ripping on me, you know what I mean? It was like, how the fuck were we on the same bill?
Yeah.
But that happened.
Worked out.
I don't know why that. I guess if you think about it, it probably just happened because it was like, oh, these guys are drawing. Right. Or somebody's like, I know this guy in this band, or you know what I mean? Like, who knows why that happens? But so it is it's the Femmes crew, all Polish boys from the South Side. Yeah, me, Todd, Mike. So like. But in general, it's the band has always been three people.
Yep.
And I always say, like, it doesn't matter if I'm the drummer or if it's Victor. The band's known for being three guys.
Yep.
But Blaze is great, and he's on stage all night. Yeah, and he's like a child actor too.
Sure. Really?
Yeah, no,
what did he do?
Yeah, he was in Another World. He was in Bring It On. I always like to brag about him, and he's like, I don't care. But he lives in Australia. Brian Ritchie lives in Australia, but he did all these commercials. He did something with like Brett Favre. Just one of those things too, man, where it's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I had a solo jazz album. I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did a solo jazz album when I was 18. I had gotten some money from an inheritance, and I did a whole album, right?
Holy
but I'm like, that's not like being in movies. Because he grew up in San Diego, and his mom, he was a child actor. Wow. So he'll be like, I dated Lindsay Lohan. And I'm like, what? Like, these are conversations that happen on the bus.
Yeah.
Just they come out.
What?
And he's an amazing. I fucking love the guy, right? He's like a brother to me. But I'm like, something, and he's like, I met him once in LA. And I'm like, what, dude? Get the fuck out of here.
Wild.
Yeah, but it's cool. Yeah. So and it's funny with his, I mean, that's not about me, but for once. But like Blaze, he started with the band, I think when he was 14. So he's been in the band as long as I have.
Holy
He didn't do
shit.
every tour,
Okay.
but he's been with the band. Yeah. He came in and would sit in.
So you've been touring with the Femmes since 2005.
Yeah.
So you've been on a tour every year since.
Every fucking gig.
Wild.
No, that's not true. I missed 2 gigs when my older son was born.
Okay.
But Victor was the drummer at the time, so it was like, well, because I was playing cajon. I came in playing cajon.
Okay.
And then Viglione came. So, yeah, then Brian Viglione came in after Victor left. He's the drummer from Dresden Dolls. God darn it. Why did I just say darn it after I've been cussing this whole day? Yeah, so anyways, Dresden Dolls drummer, Brian Viglione. Great player. And he came in for about, I want to say 3 years. And then he left. And then I just took over. I was like, like, here's the thing. I'm just going to play the drums and a cajon. And we'll just, like, I'll just do this.
Okay.
You know? And so that's how that kind of happened. Yeah, but Blaze, so 2005, cajon all the way up until 2016.
Wow.
And then my first truly...
How were your palms at that point?
I used to do, dude? I used to tape guitar picks to my fingertips.
Whoa.
And they would be flying all over the place.
Just to get some...
Because I needed that crack.
Yeah.
You know, like the crack for the backbeat.
Yeah.
Because I needed, we needed to hold it down.
Yep.
Because even though I was playing a bass cajon, that backbeat is so important. You know.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the show last night in Chicago was me on acoustic guitar and my buddy was on the cajon. So that was...
I think I saw the video of that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he was off stage left, right?
Yep.
And then I saw that. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, because, listen... the Beatles, what did they say? It's got a backbeat. You can't lose it, or whatever it is. I forgot the lyrics, but you got to have that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand. So I'm a big hip hop fan, but so the bass, the 1 and 3, or just a 1. This is very important, of course, but you got to have a backbeat, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like. So where were we going with this? Oh yeah, Blaze, he's in a bit. So it's 4 of us, and and then I started with the cajon. Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal, man. The first gig. I don't know if you want to hear these boring ass stories.
No,
fucking first gig I played with them, my cajon, and then I was going up to my fucking room, and I go for my room key. And my hand was so swollen, I couldn't get it into my pocket, dude. Listen, rock star problems, dude.
I'm glad I asked about your hand, because
no, it's all I have. But no, man, it was like crazy, dude. All swollen and like, I was like, couldn't get in. And then of course, over time, because like I said, when I told Brian, I'm like, I can fake, I can do this. Whatever. Yeah, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I can. I can play in a fucking tin can. It doesn't matter. But like, dude.
So how long
touring, playing? Yeah. That's like, hold up now.
How long did it take for you to feel like this was normal life?
What do you mean?
Like when you first started with the Femmes and you were touring as your profession. Like when did you kind of like? Did you have any moments where you were initially when it was tough to it was like I cannot believe this is real, or did it always feel like this was normal?
Well, I think that that's a great question. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, okay, like this is. Because I told you the story about listening to Eminem, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Like, this must be like a dream.
Right, now, right. That's different, right? But when I was like, okay, because I remember when I got the first tour, I told Brian Ritchie, I said, okay, so what do you want me to work? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, don't you have to go to work or something? And I said, well, I quit my job. And he goes, I did. I called. I was working at a factory out, I forgot where it was, in Brookfield or something. I said, hey, I'm not coming in. And they're like, oh, you're not feeling good? I said, no, ever again. I'm never coming in again.
Wow.
Are you sure? And so Rich, I was telling Rich, and he goes, you don't even know if we don't even know if this is going to work out. I'm like, well, if it does, then I'll get a fucking another job, man. Like, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm balls deep in this,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know when it really sunk in. Maybe honestly, it could have been when the tour manager asked me if I had a passport. That's when I think I knew, like, this is gonna go. I'm gonna be doing this for a while. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it was a serious thing now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I have to get a passport. And I'm being flown across the world, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. And then I just had to just do my fucking job, man.
Yeah.
And I was on the crew for many years. I still like to pretend like I'm on the crew. I know, like, so I'm sorry about the mic here. But, like, what do people call them, fucking roadies or whatever? No, it's called a crew guy or a person. But, like, yeah, I mean, I still, like, pretend like I'm on the crew. I'll go and pretend like I'm setting shit up.
Yeah, yeah.
But typically, we don't sound check. No sound check, no rehearsals. So I'll go out there. I'll sound check, make sure my
line checks or nothing.
That's nothing to do with me.
Right.
But I'll go out there and I'll check my monitor because, it's sometimes the sound can be weird at different times. I'm in the middle of the stage, so I have to, and I'm only playing brushes, dude. For the most part, on a snare drum. I kind of need to hear everyone. Otherwise, I'm out there going, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Think about that.
Yeah.
But I go up there, and sometimes I'll be like, I'll help out. And it's just like, you don't want to help us? Yeah. Go to the fucking bus. And I'm like, come on, I want to hang out, guys. Because like you're talking about being humble. I can't lose that work ethic,
Yeah.
But, so I was playing Cajon, and I was playing Cajon. I was setting up Victor's stuff. And then I start kind of getting into, like, understanding the production side of things. Then I became, like, kind of at that time a stage manager. And so I knew how to set. I honestly, between you and I can still set up the whole stage.
Sweet.
Yeah, but I take pride in it. I take pride in that.
Yeah.
Do I want to do it? If I have to, I could. But yeah, so that's kind of how it started off. I don't even know what the question was. We have the Cajon, and then I was a crew guy. I was doing everything. I was fucking moving gear, man.
Were there any venues that you, like, growing up, you always wanted to play kind of thing, and that you did play?
No.
What were those? Oh.
No. But there is. The Femmes, I believe it was in '86. They played Carnegie Hall, and so my big album, the album
the one
was live at Carnegie Hall, Benny Goodman, and so that's the place they played there and they sold it out, and I'm like, well, so what can we play Carnegie Hall? Can we play Carnegie? Really? It's not a huge play. It's not like it's like huge. You know what I mean? We could totally play there. It just hasn't worked out. But that's the only place I ever really want to play. Dude, Coachella, 80,000 people. Cool. Dust fly. I'm not complaining. But it was like, all right, here it is, right? The celebrities and dust everywhere. And I'm like, all you can see. I mean, it was cool and everything, but like, it was cool. Yeah. It's not my, we've played some very, like, iconic venues. I'm like, they're like, we played was it shit, I forgot the name, a Grand Ole Opry, right? And so it's like, this is where so and so stood.
Is that the one in Nashville?
Yeah. Played in we play all these stages.
Played that place?
Yeah, the Ryman. Wow. I'm sorry, the Ryman.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like thinking, because I'm trying to think. I had about 5 different things.
I walked past it. My parents
very
awesome
place.
This place is legendary.
Places that it's like, this is where John Lennon stood. You know what I mean? Where it's like the Beatles played this stage, or all these iconic places. Massey Hall, all the jazz that was played there. Yeah. So like. No, I mean, nothing that really, I respect all those venues, of course. I mean, you're an idiot. Don't take it for granted. But like, I always wanted to play Carnegie Hall. I mean, but yeah, we played some great places. Fucking Hyde Park, and it's like in London, and you're playing there, and you're like, okay, well, we're here. This is happening. It's funny because this thing about the whole Taylor Hawkins thing, we played a festival with him. It was a number of years before he died, but I don't know why I brought that up, but like that was a cool. All these festivals, like some like really big time festivals, and meeting some of these amazing Patti Smith, Lou Reed. Like played with Lou Reed in Barcelona, Spain, it was at the Primavera Festival.
Oh wow, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
No, I'm kind of relevant.
So many. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, it was great until 5 a.m. when the fucking DJs are still going. Sure. And I'm like trying to sleep, dude. I'm like, oh. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all those type of venues. Yeah.
So with the Violent Femmes being,
I'm screwing this up, so you can tell I'm a drummer.
Oh, you're totally fine. Okay. It's perfect. It's
great. You're perfect.
I'm trying. When the Violent Femmes are like a more seasoned band and older bands, how have they, and like you guys, how have you become, or have you been able to be so relevant still? I feel like there's so many bands that just kind of had their time and then they're kind of done. Like, how have you been still relevant now? Still doing shows, still touring?
That first record. Now think about those songs. Think about those songs, man. Think about those songs. You know that. Right? You know, right? You're wearing a shirt. All the lyrics are in a shirt.
Is this the one with Kiss Off?
Everything.
Blitzkrieg Bop?
It's all the lyrics in the first album.
Wow.
Well, now think about what those songs are, right? Those songs are about being a teenager, being frustrated, because Gordon wrote all those songs when he was a teenager, right? Well, and also the music is phenomenal. So now you think about the content of the lyric, the meaning behind the lyrics, rather, and it's like being a teenager, or even being in your early 20s or whatever, or shit, man, just being a person that's just fuck everything, right? There's a song. There's always a song on that album that can be like, you know what? You almost feel like you have an ally, or you know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck you know what I mean? But certainly, I think the teenage thing is a big part of it. You know what I mean? Because it's about like not fitting in, being frustrated, all the things that go into growing up, right? And so how can that growing up never goes on. It happens to every one of us. It doesn't matter what era it is. You know what I'm saying? We all have to go through that period of our life. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's why that fucking album is so iconic, not just musically, but the words and the meaning behind it. That, it kind of, honestly, I maybe be a little passionate about, but like, I'm pissed, man. Like, these guys need to be in the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How do you have a band that, like you said, how do you have a band that goes all the 40 years? Yeah. And people still want to hear this album from 40 years ago? Not because it's like, like a disco album. It's like, I really like this. It reminds me when I was partying. It's like, no, man.
Yeah.
This is a rite of passage, And I mean, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get them in a Hall of Fame. God, darn it! If it takes, it's just darn it again. I've been cussing. No, but that's why I think that they call bands like Femmes like a heritage act and all that stuff, and it's like, sure, okay, fine, but this is what album for you is iconic? Like, what album do you? Because you're 20, it doesn't matter. But do you still go back to a certain album? It doesn't have to be defensive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's still like, damn, this still resonates with me.
Kind of takes me back to that time I was first listening to it.
Or it's like you're having a fuck day or something like that, or whatever it is. Or even if you're happy. I'm not saying that all these Femmes songs are about, being depressed or going through a hard time. But like, when you have an album from front to back, man, I'm not talking about hits. I'm saying shit. Every fucking song, and then they mean something, That's why we're still. That's why Yeah. And the funny thing too, I can tell you, with Brian and Gordon, it's like neither one of those guys. No, I'm the new guy, of course, but like both of those guys, it's like, okay, whatever we're doing, it's like, what songs we should do, Blister, and they're never like, fucking Blister. They never act like that. those guys really love the music that they created. They really, I can say that. I mean, or maybe unless they're, I'm saying from my perspective, they
Can't
never
imagine the amount of times they played that song.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. They never act like, fuck. No. It's great. Always smiling on stage.
Yeah.
Those two guys are two of the greatest people that I've, worked for, but I've ever played with. And I'm not saying that because I'm kissing ass, because I think you pick up, fuck that, man. No, these guys are really fucking great guys. They're great musicians. And Gordon is not a lead guitar player. All his leads are like based on the melody. His rhythm playing, fuck, for a drummer, man, it's heaven.
Yeah.
And I got Brian. Brian's just out of sight musician, and Gordon's voice, his voice is actually, I didn't think it was bad years ago. I'm not saying it. His voice is actually better than it ever has been. And even my kids, they're like, Dad, Gordon still sounds like he did on that first record, but better. My kids say that,
Wow.
So I think that's what helps. All those things, if that answers the question, I just very passionate about those guys, and I mean I respect the history as well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it probably just goes to show Brian and Gordon how serious they take it. And we were talking before about this being a job, and this is just a serious kind of thing, and this is what they do. Yeah,
no, listen, dude. Those guys are. It's an anomaly. They're really something, man. So, and all you can do is hope. That's not something. I don't know if it's something you tried. I don't think that's something you can set out to do. Every so often you get the needle in a haystack, right? Yeah. How many bands? Tons of bands that are still going nowadays. You know what I mean? Great bands, great songs. I don't know, you know what I mean? But these guys are really something. So, I think that's why. I'm very fortunate, and it's cool because, man, listen, it's from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I'm a hometown boy,
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot involved. There's a lot in my heart for it. Like I said, the Bodines are from Milwaukee, Waukesha. And, I know that I think there's only one original member, and that's fine. I know a couple of their songs, but when you're touring around the world and people will come up, before COVID, we would do signings, right? Ryan and I and Blaze, we would sign autographs at the merchandise booth. And dude, people would come up and be like crying like we were Elvis. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know how many, again, I'm not casting a shadow on the Bodines, but like, they just ramble off all these songs. And then this song, and this song, and this song. It's like, wow, And yet, I think, I could be wrong on this. I think that first album, it was like, took 10 years to go platinum. 10 years. But that was in an era where everybody was dubbing tapes.
So is 10 years a while for a song to go platinum? Or
album.
What is it?
I think, I don't quote me. I think it was 10 years before the album went platinum. I think I know it's multi-platinum now. Okay. But there's a different era, you know what I mean, where people are sharing, like, it was like kind of like what we do now, like sending over tracks or, Spotify or not, like the Napster bullshit. It was just on cassettes. Going back to that. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing, and it's something to be proud of,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this whole year because it's going to be touring and celebrating, this just gem,
When do you guys head out again?
May 4th, I think is the first date. It's on the West Coast. Yeah. Well, and then we're playing with symphony orchestras now too.
Wild.
You would think that would
do you have a rehearsal for that?
Yes. Okay. You caught me on that one.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yes. What we do is an afternoon. Well, we have all the charts already because we've done it 3 other times. So they have the charts. Yeah, we run through every song once. Okay. In the afternoon.
Nice.
With the orchestra. And it's like, yep, good enough.
Yep.
And then we blast.
Next. Yeah.
So fair enough. Yeah,
that's where you take your nap.
Yes.
That. Yeah, right.
My nap, yeah.
Well, if you're around April 15th, we are playing.
You got to write it down for me, man.
I will write it down.
I'm old.
I'll write it down in an envelope for you.
Literally an envelope. See?
Yeah.
Old man problems. Yeah, what else? I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much time we have.
We are at 1:39.
Okay.
So we can
So
wrap this up
when I was
soon.
listening to your music, because I sat here and rambled way too
No,
long.
it was perfect. It was everything.
all right.
Yeah, this is
All right.
everything anyone
I don't know,
wanted
because
to
I
see,
see that
yeah.
you've done some acting with the people here in the kitchen. I was watching some of the skits.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, man.
That was...
I mean, I was like, let's hang out. Okay, I'd like to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to ask you. So when I listen to your music, and I hope you're not offended or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I got from it. Feel like when and you might not even know some of these bands. It was a little bit of like Television or maybe Interpol. I didn't want to. I was thinking like, no, not Phoenix, but like, who are you? Who's your influence with your writing?
So Phoenix, you just said. I do love Phoenix.
I love 'em.
That band. Oh my god, their live show is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would see them.
They
in a
played at Mad
heartbeat.
Planet when they were first starting,
Shut
dude. And
up.
I had friends that went to that
Phoenix,
show.
the band from Paris.
Yes,
They played at Mad Planet.
my friend told me girls were throwing their underwear at him. I was like, is this 1982? What's like really?
What year was that? 2000s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's how I found out about him. It was like this friend of ours. She was like, "I went to go see this band. They're really awesome. They're called Phoenix. They're actually French, but they still sing in English, and it were so amazing. And girls were throwing their panties at them. I'm like,
oh my god.
wait, are you talking about Kiss? Wait, who? Wait,
Yeah.
what, Winger? What, like what? And then I picked up the CD. She may have burned me this CD, and I was like. I forget what was the name of the album. It was, the big one
It was long distance call. Otherwise,
with Square Dance on it, and
the red one, black.
No, I don't know what color it was.
Okay.
It was burned.
Oh, shoot.
I should admit that. But anyways, yeah, because anyways, that they are great. So I was thinking about when I was listening to your music, I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't want to offend you or like say something like, "Oh, dude, really? You really think we sound like that?" But like, yeah.
No,
so
I'm curious because
yeah.
it's always a tough question for me
And
to
it's down
answer.
to it's chill. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you got upbeat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's always a tough question for me to answer because I listen to so much different kinds of music.
Sure.
I'm
So do I.
a
Yeah.
product of, I guess, the playlist era. So just
Wow.
listening.
No, you're a musician,
you
and
know.
it's your job to listen to everything
yeah.
and learn
Oh,
from
yeah.
everything.
Which
right?
I love. I love it.
yeah, sure.
And
Playlist. Yeah.
I also say, like, you're familiar with FM 1021.
Mm-hmm.
So my band back in high school, we were basically an FM 1021 cover band who also played the Violent Femmes.
That used to be called Hot 102.
Hot 102.
That was
Interesting.
it was like hip hop back in the
Really?
day. Back in my day. Back in
Wow.
my day, kids.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Hot 102.1.
Yeah. So they would play like Weezer, Green
Sure.
Day, Blink
Alternative,
182,
yeah.
alternative
Mhm.
rock. And I really like the Kooks.
I've heard of them.
From singer-songwriter standpoint, I really like this guy named Rodriguez. Really cool documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
actually.
that's that older. Yeah,
Sugar Man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, I think Ritchie might have. Don't quote me on this. I think Brian Ritchie may have either. Yeah, I think he played with him.
Wild.
He may have played with him, or he did something. And
Yeah.
I don't quote me on it. But yeah, Brian knows him somehow. Yeah, I heard
He's
that
from
story.
Detroit.
It's fascinating.
Crazy. 'Cause,
Yeah.
when you said South Africa too, he was.
He didn't even know.
He didn't even know that he was.
Yeah, I didn't
huge in
see the
South
movie,
Africa.
but I heard the story. Yeah.
Wildest documentary I've seen in my life. But I
Yeah.
really love his music. I could just ramble on
Sure.
off a bunch of names, but just a little bit of everything. And when I write, I really try to, at least the music I currently have out, I kind of want to start experimenting with different things and
Sure.
kind of expand a little bit. But I do kind of picture my sound as a 4-piece, so like drums, bass, guitar, and then maybe synth, and just try to figure out what sounds I can get out of those. And I record all on my laptop, all in my bedroom. So
Sure.
looping drums, and I want to start getting more familiar with working with my drummer to do some more beats and just figure it out, whatever
Sure.
I want to do. But I really try to get my music out from just a real genuine place. Like I really don't want to think about it, you know.
No, that's when things
exactly.
get fucked. Yeah,
That's
man. You
like
start
when I'm
thinking,
thinking
man,
too much,
that's I'm like that in my my personal life. But when it comes into music, man, yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You start thinking that's when it gets.
Yep. And just getting into that creative nerve and just running with whatever I'm feeling at that time and just getting something good down and then coming back to it and reworking it until I have songs. And right now I have 3 albums out and just want to keep going. Yeah.
So what's your? So I like I told you, like I'm of course I've got a bunch of the albums, but like. You know, like for me, Benny Goodman Live at Carnegie Hall is the one I played over and over and over. I mean, as a musician, okay, keep that in mind because I grew up with hip hop and all the rock in the '80s before I started playing drums. But that as a musician it's still monumental. What's your go-to
album?
You know what I mean? Like that one album where it's like from you know what I mean? Like where it's like front to back. It's just like, fuck, man, fuck. Like it hits you then, and to this day, it still hits you,
I gotta say,
I won't judge you.
The album Blonde by Frank Ocean. I don't know if he's...
No, I don't know. I'll check it out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll write it down in my envelope.
Blonde by Frank Ocean. It's just
I've heard
phenomenal.
of
Yeah. Very much different from my kind of music and what it...
But that's that album for you, huh?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Caught me in a really formative time, like high school, and
well, that's usually when it happens too. I mean, you could be starting music at any age, of course, but that's when I was like 14, and it was just like, and it's funny because if you wanted stories, this is kind of cute, but like. So in junior high school, it was like I was really big into hip hop. Actually, this sweatshirt, this is a big hip hop artist that I was into named Kwame, and very jazzy influence in his music. But I was a big fan of Public Enemy. You've heard of Public Enemy? Just lie to me.
I've heard
Chuck
of
D, Flavor Flav.
Yeah,
lie
okay,
to me.
Those are familiar.
Okay,
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
So I was into all these different types of hip hop. So now fast forward, and I'm in the Femmes, and there's a band called Prophets of Rage. And they were playing in Chicago, and I don't know how, I knew the promoter, or no, I knew a tour manager, I forgot how, but anyways, I bought the tickets, but I got backstage. So I was backstage, and I kind of knew how all that worked. So they're like, okay, yeah. They're shuffling everybody into different rooms, right? And they put us in Chuck D's room. And I'm standing there, and I'm like looking around, I'm like, this is kind of like we were waiting in line, like they were hurting us, And I already had been touring for many years, so I was like, this is kind of lame. I don't even know if they're going to come, if Chuck is going to come into the room. So I told my buddy, I was like, who actually, ironically, is the one who, he and I listened to Public Enemy, all this hip hop, and he took me to my first concert, which was Violent Femmes.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're sitting there, and I'm like, dude, I'll be right back. He's like, where are you? He's not in the industry. He goes, dude, where are you going? I said, I'll be right back. So I just started wandering around because I know how it works backstage. And I ended up going into the room, and in that room was who was in there? Anyways, I forgot. So I was talking to some people, and they're like looking at me, and you could clearly tell. It was Be Real from Cypress Hill.
Holy shit.
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. I'm trying to remember all because I'm trying to think too fast. So I walk in the room, and I was Be Real, and it was bass player from Rage Against the Machine, which is this story is hilarious. So I'm standing, and I was like, hey, man. And we had already played a show with Cypress Hill years ago.
Wow.
Femmes did.
Holy shit.
And the cops stormed the stage. They came up to me. They're like, are you the tour manager? I'm like, no, I'm in the other band. And they're like, okay. And then whatever happened, I don't know what happened. So the cops left, blah, blah, blah. So I walked in the room because this is what I was trying to do. I wanted to meet one of the guys in the band, the Prophets of Rage, man. It's Be Real, the guys from Rage Against the Machine, Chuck D. And so I was like, Chuck D's not coming here, man. That's why I bailed on my buddy. So then when I'm in the room, and I'm like, hey, man, you almost got me in fucking trouble in Biloxi. And he's like, who are you? And I was like, oh, man, I'm the drummer in Violent Femmes. He's like, oh, shit. So then he came up. I was like, we were joking around. And I don't know. I feel bad. I don't remember the name of the bass player from Rage Against the Machine. But so then I'm standing here with those two guys, and the guy goes, "What's the name of your band?" I said, "Violent Femmes." And he's like, what? And I'm like, Gone Daddy Gone, Blister in the Sun, and Be Real turns to, I forgot his name. Shit, I feel horrible about that. And he's like, man, the band with the mariachi bass. That's Brian Ritchie, right? And he's like, and then so then I'm like, and the guy's like, no, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, now I feel like a bigger fucking loser.
Oh my God.
But Be Real was super cool with me, right? So then I'm like, oh, cool. And then my buddy comes up and he's next to me. And he's like, dude, like you've been gone kind of a long time here. I was like, oh yeah, no. So, and then I turned to my right and Chuck D's there and he goes, hey man. I was like, oh, hey. And he's like, who are you? I was like, oh, typical, that Midwest bullshit, right? And just me being me. I'm like, oh, my name's John Sparrow. I'm the drummer in Violent Femmes. I really like the show. And he's like, yeah, you're supposed to be in my room. I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry about that, Chuck. So then we get out in the hallway and we're standing there. I'm like, hey, we actually played some festivals with you guys. I'm pointing. I said, my buddy here. I was like, we used to listen to you all the time. And he goes, what band are you in again? I said, Violent Femmes. And he went like this. And I said, no, you don't. I'm like, dude, no, Chuck. He's like, I have all the programs from all the festivals. He keeps everything. He's like, and that's how I am too. I like to keep everything. Oh yeah. Bring it home. You know how you put it in, you put it in your Rubbermaid bin or whatever you do. Yep. So that's my story. I don't even know how I got on that topic, but hip hop, and it was a big thing for me, And then to get to this point, like in my career, where I'm standing right in front of my idols, and like, holy fuck, man. Yeah, people are people, though, man. Because someday I might be working for you.
Right. Or
I hope I last long enough. My good looks. No, but you know what I'm saying, man? I might be working for you someday. Yep. That's just how the world turns. But yeah, that was a cool story, and and then of course we were talking about what influenced us. A lot of that hip hop influenced me. Like I was telling you, with the comedy show, I had to go see Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall, and then meeting him. And walking in the room. I'm not trying to be a comedian, but like it still has an impact on me. I think, I know it influences some part of me, like you might be into comedians.
I love comedy,
we all do. I think most people do, but it's amazing how it's still an art. Oh yeah. It's just somebody else's medium.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want to call it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Some people like Brian Ritchie loves all kinds of different things, but one of the things he introduced me to was we were touring all over Europe, and it's like we're going to the Van Gogh Museum, we're going to the Andy Warhol Museum. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And I was not in the art.
Yep.
I'm like, I like art, but I wasn't like into it, understood it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Next thing you know, it's like Andy Warhol's nephew is giving us a private tour. I'm like, holy shit! I was really never into. I liked the Velvet Underground. I wasn't into his stuff. Now we're getting a private tour, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. This is really an honor. And I was like, oh shit, this dude's actually he's an amazing artist. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the Campbell's soup cans thing. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He was. I don't know if it's the right term, but illustrator. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Did advertising. And I was like, holy shit, man, this guy was fucking amazing. So we all have our medium, and I think that a lot of those things, I do believe they influence in our case, being musicians. I think that you can pull some influence from that,
Definitely.
I really do believe that.
Definitely.
Like here, we have the lighting. Well, because this is how you run your show. No, and it's a necessity, right? But I never knew about production until I started touring. I just was like, oh, wow, those lights are really bright as I'm playing a gig at some club in town, right?
Yep.
Then I started understanding like how it all works. Riggers and how they go up there and and they do spots and this is where the lead singer is. No haze. You know what I mean? Like I never thought. Yeah. I did a little bit of stage musicals, but I was in the pit, so I didn't think about the production. It was like it's a crew.
Yep.
No offense, I'm not saying it in a negative manner, but man, it's amazing how so much of it plays plays into, like, think about Pink Floyd. A lot of it was about the lighting.
Yeah.
The music is amazing, but it was the lighting was part of the show.
Yeah, because they were one of the first bands to bring a huge production for their stage presence. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, that was an example, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Skateboarding.
That's right. I saw that. Right in your house. Yeah.
Love to skateboard, even though I'll never be pro or anything like that.
No, do you know Stefan Janowski?
You know who he is. Yep.
He's a street guy, right?
Yeah.
So you know that we re-recorded a song called "I'm Nothing"
with him,
and he sang on it.
Wild,
dude. He was in town. You know, he was. We shot a music video here.
Holy shit,
dude! You have to.
I actually didn't know he
go
did
into
music.
YouTube.
To be honest,
go into YouTube's. You'll see the video. It's shot here in Milwaukee, dude.
Wow.
He was skating here
right now.
Do it. He's skating in River West too.
Shut up!
You'll see.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that wore his shoes growing up.
So we have a shoe with him. We have one of his shoes. They're Violent Femmes shoes.
Oh my god,
dude! $10. 2 years. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you'll see. There's some great fucking footage. I think he might even be on his block, but I do believe he goes past Fuel, and then he's down. I don't know what street that is, Commerce or something.
But he lives here?
I'm Nothing. No, he doesn't live here.
Oh.
We shot the video here.
Oh, I see.
I'm Nothing. No, here's my kid. He'll be okay.
What?
Yeah, so, you don't have to listen to the whole thing. I mean, you don't have one of those fancy accounts?
No.
Yeah, so we shot this here in Milwaukee. Do you know who that is?
Yep, that totally.
Yeah, you might know. I forgot all the names. Listen, I've been forgetting names all night.
What?
There's me. I know my name.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's Black. What is that? Black Cat?
Black Cat Alley?
Yeah. Black Cat Alley.
Yep.
There he is. Yeah, you'll see so many. Yeah, so you know where that is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Wow.
How cool, right?
That's so
He's a super
sweet.
fucking cool guy, too.
I bet.
Yeah. I can't skate. I gave that up in the 80s.
That dude with the beard looks familiar.
Yeah, I mean, some of us. There you go. Yep. You missed it. Did you see it?
I did catch it, like the end of it. That was like Fuel, outside Fuel.
Yeah.
Bird, right in center.
Yeah, and then I feel like he goes past the Polish Falcons too. I could be wrong. You know what was
That's
cool?
Right by,
there's
Brady. Yeah.
Dude, he's huge. That Janowski, like, dude.
Yeah.
Major,
his
huge.
shoes have had a huge
Look at, there you go.
impact on, I guess,
man.
culture.
So we have a shoe. So during this, he was on the song, sang on it, and then we have a Femmes shoe with him. Oh, yeah, and I played at
So
barbecue.
he's a musician? Stefan Janowski?
You know, he was just singing.
Singing?
Yeah.
Singer?
I'm sure he may play guitar, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Really
So
sick.
then here, check this out. See this?
That's a
outside of the
Oriental, right?
Right? Do you know Brett Newski?
Yes.
So he's in the video. Oh, sorry.
Is he jumping around back there?
Yeah, he's right behind me somewhere. Yeah, and we finished right.
I feel like I saw him jumping around
Look
back there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
All good.
Yeah, Brett's in there. That's Janowski, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we. It's my buddy. Oh, there is Brett. Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. And then, they had the drone. Look at that, dude.
Sick.
How fucking cool, right?
Sick.
So speaking of skateboarding, anyways, that's my story. And I did.
Cool.
I did meet Tony Hawk. Briefly.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it was Cruel World in L.A. It was a festival.
Here he's just like a normal,
normal dude.
Yeah, really chill.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
man. Listen, if there's any advice I could give you that I know I'm going to be right about, just keep it. Just fucking keep it real, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I think that way people know what they're getting, dude.
Right.
You know, there's no bullshit.
Yep. That's kind of something that I've had in the back of my mind when doing all of this is like, I don't want to fall into some sort of false image or a character that I'm putting out there.
Then you have to fucking keep doing, like, then you have to get into character every time.
Exactly.
That's, I was just telling my girlfriend about that. It's like, she's like, you are just, I love you, but like, why do you have to be a Pollock all the time? Why, I'm like, honey, because that's who I am. That's how I was raised. But like, think about this. If I have to like go on stage and become something, imagine how exhausting that is.
Drains you.
Fucking faking.
And if someone meets you like a fan, then you gotta like.
And then they're like, "Oh, well, that's not the person I thought I."
Exactly.
Brian and Gordon, that's who they're just. Somebody once we were on tour and they were like, he said something about Gordon. They're like, he's really weird. And I was like, have you not listened to the music? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I love him. He's a great guy. He's very intelligent. I don't think weird is bad, but like, do you think that he just wrote all this music and he was just like, okay, now I'm going to go home to my, like, dude, that comes from a place,
Yep.
Some of it's not always, I don't think, I can't speak for Gordon, I didn't, but I mean, some of that stuff is not probably necessarily about his, like some of it's storytelling and some of it may be about his life. I can't speak for him and I'm not doing that.
Yep.
But like, what the fuck, he's getting weird. I'm like, well, why do you think the music is what it is? Like that came from a place, that you call it weird, you know what I mean? But he's whatever I don't think that's a negative thing to say, but like, come on,
lots of people are weird too,
And
like,
I'm weird, but like, like, and I'm weird.
Yeah.
I think Brian's probably the only normal guy in the band. He's very intelligent. It's funny, man, because he used to be a journalist, or he is a journalist. He's through from before the Femmes and through his life, he does a lot of writing and reviews and things like that. And the cute thing is he'll use a big word on me, and I'll look at him like, and he's like, oh, that's right. So then check this out. So then I was like, damn it, Brian always has all these big words and I don't know them. I have to, like, literally there's times where now he knows when I look at him, he just will use the word that I'll understand. But I was on the internet, I'm like, what's a word? There's got to be a word for somebody that uses big words. And so I looked it up and it's called sesquipedalian. I think sesquipedalian, right? So check this out. I was like, there's a word for someone that uses big words. I was so excited. I was like, he's so intelligent. He's just he's just an amazing, not only an amazing person, incredible musician, but he's very intelligent. So he's used these big words. I'm like, dude, no, I don't know that one. Anyway, so I looked this up. I spent, how when you could type in a word and like it says it. So you could learn
right. Yeah.
I must have spent a half hour learning how to pronounce sesquipedalian. I'm not shitting you. So then I was all excited, right? And I'm like, he used some big word on me once. And I was like, sesquipedalian. And he's like, what? And I was like, yes, I gotcha. Anyways, I don't know how we got on that, but being yourself. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's just like, come on, man, just be real.
Yeah.
Don't, and it's like I was telling you when I first got here, it's like, thanks for having me. And like, I just was like, oh shit, this guy's great. And he's fucking hustling in Milwaukee. And I told you, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You're fucking busting your ass. You're doing good. Your music's good. You're doing this. And I'm like, I have nothing to gain from you, Mm-hmm. I mean, besides now a new friend,
right? Yeah.
And I like actually doing this and talking.
Yep.
I do really. Yep. Yeah. Well, obviously, my girlfriend again. She's gonna thank you, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah, just be yourself.
Thank you.
You don't have to. You don't have to. That's the only thing I could say is you don't have to get in a fucking character then.
Right.
Like I don't have to. When I leave here, or if I go in a restaurant, or I don't have to like be like, hey,
right.
I'll be like,
hey.
Yeah, fuck off, and I wonder too, I mean, So I don't want to sound like a douchebag, but because I'm who I am. So when I was in New York, I think I told you. I mean, I told you this story. Did I repeat this story? But it was like coming out of a coffee house and it's Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, there's Jerry Seinfeld. Like, I'm not gonna bother him, but you know, I could tell he was like, I could see he looked and he's like, oh, you know who I am, and I was like, I'm not gonna fuck with you, you know, like I'm not gonna bother. But imagine then, like I have to go. He's gonna be like, then you know, like it is exhausting, especially. Well, listen, no, my girlfriend's like, she's been here since pandemic. We go back and forth between here and New York. She's like, does anybody ever recognize you? I'm like, why? She's like, you're this famous. I'm like, no, but like imagine for people like. Brian Ritchie you can't miss that fucker. You know, like his style and his presence is just, it's huge. But like Jerry Seinfeld, you know, like it's exhausting. Not that he has to get in a character, but man, imagine that, you know, like imagine being that huge.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, fuck my life.
Right.
You know, so I don't.
That's what I kind of mentioned before that I'd love to be like a small name on a big
yeah, that's what you were saying earlier, right? Yeah.
I don't want anything crazy like selling out arenas or anything, but just
well, because it brings a lot of responsibility.
Yep.
I mean, on so many different levels, right?
Yeah,
that was interesting at Jerry
but
Seinfeld.
I feel that you can't really control. Some of that is out of your control too.
Sure,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, think about. I mean, just because Jerry Seinfeld, it's like he was just doing what he loved, but you could tell that it's like it. Well, obviously, I was telling my kid, I was like, do you know who Jerry Seinfeld is? No, Dad. I was like, how do you not know? Anyways, but like, yeah, you get to that point where it's so big. Of course, you want the money is nice, and you like that what you've put your whole life into is successful. But then it's like, fuck, man. Now I have to like call my coffee. You know, it's a bummer. Yeah. So you can be as humble as you want, but at some point it's like, oof. It's taxing, you know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not that famous.
Do you want to wrap this up?
Sure.
Anything that you want to talk about before
Are
we
you
end?
kidding me?
Yeah.
Did I not just say fucking everything? I knew I was going to come here and ramble.
One thing that I wanted to bring up.
These poor people that are going to be watching this are like, that dude, all he did, is he on crack? This is who I am.
Right. One thing I wanted to ask you, bring up before,
sure.
Was on a few podcasts ago, I had a band called Shuby on, and we were talking about movies, and we were talking about the movie Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, yeah, he came out to one of our shows.
No way, yeah, Nick?
I don't know his name. I just saw him, and I was like, that guy looks familiar.
Oh, cool, yeah. Probably.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted, as usual.
He was like, oh, yeah, with the song, I think Blister in the Sun is in that movie at the end. And I was like, no, it's not. And he's like, I will take this to my grave, that this is in the movie. He said he's a film major, all this stuff, and we looked it up, and it wasn't in it.
Shh, it wasn't.
So I just wanted to.
I didn't remember that because I love the movie. You know,
I just want to tell him that it's for sure confirmed that isn't in the movie or anything to do with.
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, no. I mean, I know that we have a song called "Color Me Once," which is in a crow. Yeah, like Femmes songs are in a lot of different things.
Kind of goes back to that licensing thing.
Yeah, that's not part of. I'm not involved with that.
Right. Yeah.
But as far as my experience of knowing where things are,
I
know that, and I know that. What's his name? He did "Add It Up" on the WB. I forgot that kid's name. I forgot. I mean, yeah, and Fat isn't that? Like the music's all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we will wrap it up, but. It's amazing, like, for me, you're like, oh, so I heard you're in a band. I said, yeah, I'm in a band. You're a musician? Yep, that's how that works. And you're like, so I don't know the name of your band. It doesn't ring a bell. What song, like, how would I know you guys? And I'm like, oh, shit. Gordon always says, we're that band that does that song.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
it's all over the place, but people don't realize it. Kind of unsung heroes, like you were saying about what you want to do, and you know what I mean with your music. You're like, I'm cool, just being like,
yeah,
right. I don't want to be totally down on the bottom.
Yep.
I want my font to be a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And I want to play like kind of like later afternoon.
Yep.
And still get paid and get the fuck out. Where's catering?
Yeah. Right.
Well, you will, man. You will.
Thank you.
Yeah. I really appreciate you
really working on it.
This therapy session. And you can bill me.
Right. Yep. That'll be $500.
Cool, man. Well, thank you. And thanks for everybody that watches
seriously.
this.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course,
this is
it's
really
a pleasure.
sweet. It means definitely a lot to me, and I'm sure anyone in the music scene watching this, that
I hope so.
Involved with it, you know.
Well, you know what, you
capacity.
guys. Here's the thing. That's the last thing I'll say. Like I said earlier, I know it sounds weird. I'm sorry. I'm not doing some weird rock star bullshit, Mr. Touring and all your stories. I'm just kind of out of the loop, and I want to be more in the loop. Because I do love Milwaukee and I support musicians. So like again, like I said, I'm on Instagram. Just fucking DM me. I'm all about it, man. I love talking to people. Trapper Shep once, you know who that guy is? Yeah. He sent me a message, and I went. I think that might be the last time I went to a, you know what I mean, like a local show.
Yeah.
He invited me out. Great musician, really nice guy. I was at the Cactus Club, so please, like, if you guys think that I'm cool, vote for me. Right. I'm Pedro. No,
I'll tell you what. Yeah, April 15th. I'll send you the date.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, no, but I would love to.
Yeah,
Definitely. Awesome, man. Thanks.
Thank you so much, John Sparrow. This is really sick and so much fun.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, we'll get you on here another time.
I would love that. I won't talk as much.
Yeah, you can talk as much as you want.